My life is nothing without my special friends. They have taken me to a level of killing that some can only imagine. Yet in the same light, they have kept me rational as all fuck. I can kill to the point to where I do something so gruesome, so unimaginable, that my dick gets hard and stands straight up. Yet shortly thereafter, go to a business meeting or a church and talk about Jesus. I have no feelings about it one way or the other. Torture is the name of the game, and I have much to give. I am, however, only turned on when the kill is there. Then I go back to being what society deems as normal or rational. These posts would be nothing without my special friends. So I will now start to introduce you to each and every one of them. Each one of them has a story and a kill. Actually, all of them have killed many times. I will, however, share their most glorious ones. Sort of something like a highlight reel. My first friend, he has a story to tell. And I will now turn this post over to him. I am an old soul, known from the depths of hell, known as I Am Who. I have helped my friend achieve many souls for the hell we are going to bring into this world. So I guess I am here to write one of my most magnificent kills. That would be easy. It started when my friend went out and he met a girl who was very pretty. He started to win her over till this fucking idiot, this real piece of shit, came along and stole her away. We could not just let this pass. This fucker had to go, and go he shall. In hell, we have seen all of the tortures of the past. To me, none is more prevalent than that of the good old land of milk and honey. So one night, I waited for the shit scum. He seemed to trust me because I was a friend of his girlfriend. And he didn't think I was not, let's just say, the mind he knew, but someone, or really something else, worse than this fucking nightmare could ever imagine. For weeks, I looked around for a quiet place to sit up, a place where no one could hear anything. I finally found it. Of course, after much searching, I already had the punishment aligned for him. An old house in the woods. One that has long since been abandoned. My methods? Well, let's just say, I like the lessons taught by the Persians. Do you know who they are? They were the masters of prolonged punishments. Long-lasting torture. One that only took a few days, but was that of the most grueling ever. What I had planned, even I had no idea just how much sweet, sweet death this asshole would beg for. But beg for death he did. I had it all set up. I made a makeshift coffin to put him into, fitting from the neck to the knee. Also where his arms would only fit to the outside of the elbows. I only now need to lure him in. I knew how this would work. Just play the friend in need. I told him I needed help and had asked his girlfriend for some advice on getting a new place. I pretended that I bought it to be repaired, and she without hesitation suggested him. Whenever I said this, that idiot volunteered right away. See, I made sure this was one of the weekends when she left town to go to her parents, so he wouldn't be able to talk to her or tell her where he was going, because her parents, being the sweet, lovable Christians that they are, did not believe in phones, pagers, TVs, etc. Yes, those things were the thing of the time, and she had to leave hers at home. Damn. With the plan now set, we hopped into my new vehicle and left. We got there, and suddenly, he didn't really look too sure of his abilities until I showed him a generator that I had brought. I told him not to worry, we would have lights and everything we needed. With that being said, he said, okay, cool, we can start in the morning. Nightfall was quickly approaching, so I went ahead and pulled out his favorite, some good old Jack D. That stupid fucker couldn't resist. He started drinking, he finished one bottle. Within the hour, let's just say 2 or 3 bottles were down, but we weren't done. We talked and talked, and another bottle came out, then another, till finally he passed out. This was probably one of the best times that my friend or this body has ever had, but this guy fucked up, and it was time for him to meet his fate. Once he was out, I proceeded to move him into my makeshift coffin. Damn, this fucker is a lot heavier than he looks. So I strip him down till his nude body lay in the coffin. I drill hundreds of screws into the coffin. There's no way he will escape this. Then I start to pour honey on his face, his eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. I also drill a hole near his genitals. I then leave and go to the store. It is time to start getting milk. By the time I get back, the idiot was starting to awaken. He seemed a bit confused, so I told him, "You took something that belonged to me. Probably my only chance at happiness. For those who steal, the penalty is death." Of course, he decided to start screaming at me and telling me just how bad it was going to be for me when he gets out of this and so on. They always seem to do that. I still don't think he had any idea that I have no intentions of letting him out. Day 1. I see a spot outside of the house. I want to take him out there and let him roast a little. But first, it was feeding time. Of course he refused to eat. Well, at first, that is. But after holding his nose and covering his mouth, he passed out briefly. Enough for me to shove a tube down his throat to his stomach. From there, he awakens, and I mix the milk and honey over and over again, pouring it down the tube until he's overly full. Pouring it down the tube until he's overly full and looks as if he's about to puke. I then remove the tube and smear the honey all over his face and in any orifice, including his eyes and genital areas. I then proceed to drag him outside into the beautiful sunlight. From there, I leave him for an hour and come back to check on him. By this point, his face, arms, arms, legs, just everything is covered in flies. And it even appears to be a few wasps have found their way to him. I walk away and just leave him there until sundown. I keep coming back though, feeding him every hour. I feed him every hour for a few reasons. Firstly, it causes him to stay fed and hydrated. Secondly, when you eat, you shit. When he shits himself, it causes more flies to come, and flies cause maggots. This went on until sundown, and many of the flies and wasps have left the body. I bring him in. We don't want him getting mauled by a bear or something. That would be cruel, but just way too quick. He needs to suffer. The idiot was crying, saying he was gonna go insane because of some flies were in his ears, and that was all he could hear was just the buzzing. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, poor baby. I guess he doesn't understand. You don't just come into a woman's life and take her from the one that truly loves her. Day 2. On the second day, it was pretty much the same thing. Feed with milk and honey until overly full. Rub all over his body with honey. Drag out into the sun and keep feeding. The only difference is, well, it's shit. And yes, shit does stink. And it was starting to fill up in the coffin. I'd feed in one end, and it seemed to just run out the other. After 3 days of this, along with pissing and shitting on himself, he was really beginning to stink. I started to gag whenever I went to get him. There was also another smell, almost like an abscess when it pops, and it's just as putrid. The smell mixed with everything else just made it overbearing. There were also maggots moving around on his ears and his eyes. I also see them moving around in the shit. Yes, that little shit stew in the coffin. Not wanting to see it anymore, I taped cardboard over the hole. Day 4. This was when the tough guy attitude turned into begging. Not to let him go, but just to end him already. Does this fuck really believe I'm gonna let him off that easy? He starts yelling, please, please just kill me, as he's choking and gagging on the flies trying to go into his mouth. Day 5. This is becoming routine, much like a hair commercial. Wash, rinse, repeat. I figure on this day, I would make him starve a little bit. I had to make an appearance. So I went back into town, and she was there. The first one I called. Of course she tells me she hasn't heard from her boyfriend, and I just reassured her that it's probably nothing. She finally calms down, and I tell her I will be back in a couple of days, that I have to go out of town for business. I go back, and this time I mix a lot of milk and honey and pour it down until no more will go down the tube. Day 6. I awaken to take the fucker out, but today he is trying to talk and cannot even talk due to the pain in his body. I leave him out in the sun, but today I can smell him all the way back to the house, and the smell of him just lingers. Ugh. It was too much to stand. Tonight, he sleeps outside. Maybe he will get lucky. Maybe something will finish him off. Day 7. I awaken well rested and go out for my morning routine, and I yell, "Hey fucker, you dead yet?" Nope. He was alive, but barely. At this point, he had maggots crawling all over him. I feed him again, But this time he starts to convulse. He's dead? Really? He suddenly starts to cough. He says something, but I didn't give a fuck what he said. He doesn't even deserve a last word with me. Later on that night, I go out to feed him again. But he's dead. His eyes had even been eaten out. I go to open the coffin to bury him, but it was horrid. Oh my God, the smell. It seems that the maggots have been eating him alive. On some parts of his body inside the coffin, the body was eaten completely to the bone. Lots and lots of infections and boils everywhere. I go to a gas station because there is no way I'm touching him like that. That's just unsanitary. So I douse him in gasoline and set him ablaze. He burned nicely and cleared the stench right up. From earth we came, and earth we shall go. I then buried all the remains, knowing in time, someone, somewhere, would start to wonder where this fucker was, and I didn't need those issues. So I buried him nice and deep. Afterwards, I touched myself, with his blood and staunch all over me. I came on his grave and left. My name is I Am Who. So are you still interested in my life? If so, I have more posts coming very soon.